All right, everybody. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Blazer Victory Podcast. John Duncan here. And of course, I'm joined as always with both my co hosts, Jimmy Marion and Darian Smith. And we're coming at you a little earlier this week to preview the game this Saturday as UAB travels up to West Point to take on the Army Black Knights. Travel plans, of course, kind of speeding up this. But definitely, if you guys have not had a chance to watch the recap episode of the Tulane game, definitely would encourage you all to do so. YouTube, we are 10 subscribers short of 300 total subscribers. So please, even if you just listen to the audio form, whether Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever, there will be a link in your show description to click to view our YouTube channel, and please subscribe and like the video. We are so close to 300. And again, we said last time, like, hey, if your significant other, spouse, if they're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please ask them to subscribe or just get their phone and subscribe to the Blazer Victory YouTube channel. That would help us out tremendously. Well, guys, UAB's got another hard task this Saturday. Army coming in at 5-0. Freaking good on offense. Freaking good on defense. And UAB, we know, opposite on both. 11 a.m. televised on CBS Sports Network. We hope that, number one, if you're not making the trip, to, pop it on your screen and cheer on the Blazers. Hey, I should have led with this. UAB is undefeated against Army in UAB's football program history. So Army's never beaten UAB. So we can hang our hat on that, right?
For now.
All the way until Saturday, we can hang out.
Let's go, man. Let's go. Hey, Patreon subscribers, I did just drop an interview this morning with James from the Brigade Review. Really good interview. Patreon subscribers should enjoy that. But guys, these preview episodes are going to be, I think, shorter and shorter, unfortunately. But Army just rushes the ball really well. In fact, they are leading the nation in rush yards per game heading into this contest. And we know the UAB defense has struggled against defending the run. We saw that Saturday against Tulane, and we definitely saw that the week prior against Navy. Army, very disciplined team. They're not going to make mistakes. They're not going to have many penalties. So UAB is going to have the perfect game this Saturday to have a chance at knocking off the Army Black Knights and getting the upset. And it is going to be an upset if UAB is able to pull it off, because right now Vegas has Army is a 25.5 point favorite. While we were recording the other day on our Tulane recap Sunday, when it opened up as a 21 point favorite, but within 48 hours it has already climbed up to almost 26 points, and it'll probably get to 28 before Saturday. But Darian, what stands out to you just looking overall at this Army team that is coming in with an impressive 4-0 start in the AAC?
You already said it. This is why the preview episodes are going to be short going forward. It's not even about the other team anymore. I swear, I've been saying that more and more, but now I'm really at the line to where there's no use in me scouting. There's no use in looking at any film. I kind of I caught Arby sometime last week as we was getting beat bad. I was kind of going back and forth and kind of looking at Army. Like you already just said it. They're disciplined. They're sound. They run the ball well. They're stout on defense. They are everything we aren't at the current moment. So Jimmy was like flabbergasted about this, like we were talking earlier, the other day, and said last year at Georgia, number one team in the nation, we were 28-point dogs. 28.
I was wrong about that. It was 40.
It was what?
It was 40.
But still, let's
Well, still,
to be 25-point dogs to a conference mate. Like, come on.
That run the triple option. And I mean, look a couple weeks ago. What was the Arkansas line? What, 24? What, wasn't it like 24 and a half or something like that? I mean, this is already bigger than going into an SEC opponent like this. I wish I could say this is extremely disrespectful to UAB, but I don't think it's respectful. I think that line needs to be 28.
If I'm a bettor, I'm probably hammering Army still. Like I like these odds.
Hey, I was gonna say if you're watching us, hey, maybe you're in New York, or you got a layover in, say, Chicago, Maryland, and you got some time to download an app to make a legal bet. I would suggest getting an alt line and pulling that from, what is it, 25 and a half now, to Army all the way up to like 33, I would say. Like, if you get good odds, like right now, like Darian just said, these teams are complete opposites in the bad and in the wrong way. If you're a UAB fan, extremely disciplined Army is, really tough, physical. Like y'all, I saw a lot of UAB fans, and I guess we kind of talked about it on our Navy game recap, like how we got out physical by Navy. If you thought Navy was physical, this Army team, I mean, they are a lot bigger on the lines of scrimmage. They are more of a traditional triple option. They'll still run some shotgun every now and then, but they're in a triple option offense, they are what you kind of expect. Navy did a lot of this motion, and they kind of had smaller offensive linemen to kind of squeeze through the gaps and cut you. But this Army team and this offensive line for Army, parents, if you're listening to this in the car, you might want to mute it. They're going to knock UAB's defensive line on their ass if UAB is not ready to play this game. And it's going to get ugly real quick if we are not prepared for this game. And I asked Trent Dilfer in the presser on Monday, what is the key to getting off to a good start against this Army team? I mean, he basically said he didn't have the answer. So, guys,
it's interesting, thinking about getting off to a good start. And the reason why we propose that question is because Army has yet to trail in a game this year, and through 5 total games, I believe they've surrendered a total of 14 points in the first quarter. So, I mean, they've been dominant. I was reading something yesterday that said Army is the only team in the country that scored on its opening drive of every game this season. So not only are they not surrendering points to the opponent early, they are also taking advantage of their first opportunity to score. The same Army team that's won 9 straight games. They're one of 12 unbeaten teams in the country. And we talked about this last year a few times, specifically going into the Navy road game, where I had looked back, and the amount of times in which any UAB team, even in the good years, has had A, the opportunity, but B, taken advantage of the opportunity to beat a team on the road with 25,000 or more people in attendance. I mean, that hasn't happened since 2010 was the last time UAB went in the road in this type of environment and won a game. So it would be a massive upset. But I just wrote down just to kind of piggyback off of what y'all were saying. Like, again, offensively, the Army's elite at run the ball. They don't turn the ball over. They don't shoot themselves in the foot. They control time of possession, and possessions are truly at a premium. And then they've scored 37 or more points in 4 out of their 5 games. So, I mean, they're essentially a lock to get 40 plus in this particular game. And one thing that stood out to me on defense is that they are number one in the nation in red zone defense. And what has the UAB offense struggled with mightily this year is red zone offense, um, specifically in converting touchdowns. And then no opposing offense has scored more than 14 points. So again, that's why you see this line 25.5 is Army is essentially a lock to score 40 plus in this game. And no team has scored more than 14 points against Army this year. And so that's why you're seeing that big of a line. And that's why people are hammering it. And to John's point, it may get to 27-28 by the time we get to Saturday.
What are y'all's thoughts on the over under 54.5? So I think that's kind of just what Jimmy was saying, that Army typically is going to score about 40-ish points. So is that saying, I mean, does UAB get the 14.5? 17?
I'm not confident. Maybe at the end, maybe so. Maybe at the end of the game when, there's some points to be had. Like the game's over with. It's 51-13. Who's interested in that? And for our listeners, all of this stuff we're saying, we really hope don't happen. We really hope that doesn't happen. But I'm being a realist because what's been happening to us. I mean, ULM 32-6 us. That was an indication of what some of these other good teams would do. But yeah, and I like to push back against the whole out physical thing too, because in a way that's kind of putting it off on the players. What I've been seeing the most is lack of execution, lack of attention to detail.
Yeah.
And that's on the players, but that's also on the coaches. Of course, there are plays where it's sacks where we just get beat. A lot of the sacks I see is that simple TE twist that we've been getting beat on all year. I talked about that all year. I talked about that in the Alcorn game, right? Or just look at, like we talked about the Dallas Payne interception. We talked about how we missed blocks. None of that has anything to do with being physical. Our run, how we fit and run fitting and stopping the run. Now maybe our ability to not get to the quarterback. Okay, yeah, I can see it's certain things that are physical, right? But we went up against an Arkansas team that played us pretty vanilla. When you look back at it, they played us pretty vanilla, and we were able to go, match up with them. I think it's because we played them vanilla. When Alcorn got kind of complicated in that second half, we did not adjust. And all of a sudden, even before that, we was already turning the ball over. So I think it's more mental. I think it's more lack of attention to detail. I think it's more execution related. Now, what does that say about the standards? Where are the standards set, and how are we meeting those standards in practice? Like, what are we seeing that execution? Are we seeing that attention to detail, rep after rep? Or are we seeing the guy get it right one time and say, okay, good? Because what I see is a left tackle messing up, a quarterback messing up on this play, a running back messing up on this play. Everybody's just taking turns messing up. It's not one person. But let's say we can do some math. Let's say we have 11 players on offense, right? Or 11 players on defense. If one player messes up 5 times each game, just 5 times, that one player might say, man, I only messed up on these 5 plays. Let's say you mess up 2 in the first quarter and 1 each quarter. But if everybody's doing that 5 plays, and all it takes is that one little screw up on third down, this receiver just dropped the ball. That was on second down, a quarterback throw an errant pass, it's pick 6. A defensive tackle didn't fit right in this. Oh, Mekhi Hughes is gone. All it takes is that one, and that's my thing. I got a problem with is the standards. Like, I'm wondering about that. That's the only thing I can kind of point to. Because if guys are like, man, it was only this one play. It was only that one play. caused us to have a pick six or a fumble, a sack fumble, or it caused you got toasted. You allowed your man to get behind you for a 76-yard TD reception, right? Stuff like that keeps happening to us, and I'm just wondering why. But I'm like, well, he was but it was only that one play, but he was out of position that play. Well, look at the next play. I bet you can point to somebody else. Then you can point to somebody else. That can't all be on just the players. It's something that's not translated on attention to detail and execution. Because if you look at a Navy and if you look at an Army, I can point to you more plays to where their players are in the right position. Now, they might just get beat on that play. If we think about Tulane, when Lee Beebe broke, he had just broke a guy off. Like, it wasn't that the guy, he just made a play, right? Mm-hmm. You can't say that about UAB. And I can show you a whole bunch of plays that say, I don't know who did it, who was wrong. I'm not saying that the coaching was wrong, because I know a lot of players just do some stuff out there. But there's clearly something going on. Or if you see a TE, if you see guys get sacks off of TE time and time and time again, something's not registering. Like, I'm pretty sure the coaches are pointing out, like, hey, man, but something is going on. And if they can't get it right, then personnel changes have to be made. Something. I don't really have the answers to that because we're not at practice and we don't coach the team and we don't see. But I can assure you that it's more than just being player A is stronger than player B. No, that's not it. We gotta. I push back heavily against that. Our execution sucks. It is really, really bad, and I don't know where to pinpoint the blame at.
Before you get to the Patreon questions, Jimmy, I did want to pose this question, and you can't say it doesn't matter to all three of us. But if you're Trent Dilfer and you win the coin toss, do you want to go on offense first, or do you want to go on defense first to see if you can get a stop on defense? You can't say that you don't matter. No.
I take offense first. I take offense first. Just going back to the stat that like Army scored in the first possession of every game this season, so odds are they're going to go up 7-0 no matter what, and it's like you at least got somewhat of a chance, I guess, to go up 3-0 or best case 7-0, and so I would take offense.
We had offense first against Tulane. We had offense first.
I know, yeah.
What did we do? We went negative.
Field goal.
We had offense first against ULM. We were like, man, ain't this? We always say,
we're
like,
supposed to put 80 on ULM.
Hey, we are gonna give it to Lee Beebe every time. Just give it to Beebe.
We're gonna be punting the ball, and it's gonna be like 4th and 19. That's what's been going on, right? Yeah. We go back, right? Yeah. So I don't know the answer to it. I just want to see. I don't really care, honestly. I really don't. Just execute something. String something together. But if you go out there and it's like first down run for 1 yard, second down play, get hit for -3 yards, then it's like 3rd and 14 or something, then like a sack, 4th and 20 punt, I'm going to be ready to turn the game off because I done seen this story. Because I'm going to look back at halftime and the score is going to be 43-6, two Jonah Delane's field goals. You know? So, like, I don't want that to happen, but that's what we've been seeing all year. Take Alcorn out all year. Ain't that's what's been happening?
Yeah.
So, isn't that what you're saying? Isn't that what you're saying?
Just do something, man. Just
show us
some
something.
Fight out there.
Let me ask you guys this. What would you say I'd be happy with the outcome of this game if X happens?
Ooh.
If we don't, I want to see where we rank in negative plays.
Mm-hmm.
If we can just, 4th and 2, we got to punt. Okay, but I don't want to see us when you constantly. One thing that's heartbreaking to watch for me is like every drive we get out there, we get hit for some kind of negative play, but back to those to the Navy and Tulane, it seemed like every time it was 8 yards, 7 yards, 8 yards, 76 yards, 37 yards. UAB, it was like 3. Oh, you might get 12. Okay, here we -3, -1. Penalty.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you look at the plays and the drives of the other team, it's totally different. To me, that shows domination. There you go right there. If you want to see a whole bunch of positive yards and no penalties, you want to see some negative plays with penalties. That's us. That's discouraging. That's hard to watch. I don't care what the score is going to be. Can we string together positive plays on either side? Like, can we hit them for a -2? Is somebody going to get back there and get in the backfield and stop them? Are we going to do that? Are we going to get a sack? I'm not even asking for 5 sacks. I'm asking for a sack.
I think they're like top in the country and like not allowing sacks too.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I will be happy if we get another John Duncan on TV, CBS Sports. Like, that's what we need. Another John Duncan moment.
Hey, Darius said it last episode. I might be double fisting, so I might not have hands up, but I'll have something in the hands. Hey, but for real though, Army's defense has only gotten sacks in 1 out of their 5 games, and that was, I think, Temple. So show some positive momentum out of the offensive line, hopefully. I mean, if we're in the first quarter,
you said only one out of 5.
Yeah, that they've gotten a sack. That was Temple. Yeah, correct.
Okay, you gave me some hope right there.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Hold on. If we see the first offensive possession and they get a sack,
I'm turning the game off, bro. Like, I'm telling you, y'all, they say they go with y'all. What y'all say? We be aggressive. We take the ball. Army, we're going to set the tone. First play action. We go deep, sack, strip, fumble, UTSA style. I'm going to be like, click. No, I can't take it. I cannot take it, bro. Like, but hopefully we see something different. If we score, I think we scored. We had the first position against Arkansas.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, right? We had the ball first.
Field goal was that position.
We marched down. It was like run play. You know, it was like and that was good. If we can have, I feel like every game we're gonna come back to, but Arkansas. It's like our calling card here. So, but we got Arkansas, man. We got the memory of almost, giving Arkansas a run for their money. So, hopefully we can just dial into that, man. I don't know.
All right, Jimmy, you want to get in our Patreon questions?
Yeah. Last note on Army before we transition is that one of the crazy things about Army this year has been like their ascent. Like, so by that I mean they were picked 5th in the preseason AAC Media Day poll, which, if I'm going back, I think we said that was a little high. We were a little surprised to see them at 5th. And believe it or not, their first road game of the season, I think it was game 2. It was either game 2 or 3. They played at FAU, and they were a 1.5 point underdog in that game. Think about like where Army was at the beginning of the year to where they are now. The following week, they had hosted Rice, and they were a 1.5 favorite against Rice. You fast forward 3 weeks, and they're 25.5 point favorites against UAB. Each and every week, like they have just proven like over and over again that they are the superior team, and they are leaving no doubt. Like, these games are large margins of victory. So kudos to them for getting better each and every week. Okay, so one thing we want to do, with this will tie into some of the Army components as well, is for our Patreon supporters that are in the Patreon chat, we have some questions that were proposed to us this week. And I'll start with this one. We touched on this a little bit. Richard McCollum had asked, is Army minus 24 a lock? Well, it's 25. It's 25.5 now. And to that, Richard, I would say probably flip a coin. Because historically UAB is 16-14 against the spread all time when they're a 20+ point underdog. They're also 1-29 in those matchups straight up. That source is from Odd Sharks. So it's been about 50-50, but I think right now we would probably lean towards the Army covering, just because of, unlike Army, we've seen things go the opposite direction. And when you just compare the strengths of Army to the weaknesses of UAB, that's going to be concerning. So it's not going to be a shootout. It's going to be a physical contest, run game, who's more disciplined. You go on the road. I think UAB is 0-8 in the road under Trent Dilfer thus far. I probably lean towards Army by 30 plus. Hope I'm wrong.
So the real question is, what number would you need to take UAB? Like
40.
Probably.
If I spent my own money on it, if I had to put $100 on it, like if I'd say $100, like 40, and I'd still be sweating.
Yeah, I agree.
We just lost by 51.
At home.
Yeah. Darren, this one's for you. Stephen Chappell, he had asked, how can we help the players get through this? Like, we know this times are tough. You played. What can we do as fans to specifically show our support for these players that are going through a tough stretch?
What can fans do?
Mm-hmm.
I think what we're doing is good. We're not blaming the players. We know that the talent level, I think, is good. I think in the past I've seen fans like go after certain players. That's never good, because you don't ever want to feel like a fan base is like attacking you or attacking your group. I always felt good when I played, even though we were losing sometimes, and it was cool to see those core fans still come out there and like cheer you. They probably hated some people on the coaching staff, but they would support us. But honestly, it's not even about what we do as fans. We can just do that. We can just stay positive for the players. It's really going to come from the players themselves. You know, I know people like to say there's no I in team, but honestly, what I held on to, and I'm gonna just be 100%, like when we were losing, you have to get selfish. You have to get selfish, and what I mean by that is you have to do your job. You have to say, hey, your perspective has to be selfish, to the point to where, hey, we'll get out here and this is still film. I can't worry about what such as if we losing, I have to show on film that I am winning my one-on-one battle. If everybody has that mindset in a weird way, guess what? The team is winning then, if everybody's winning their one-on-one battle. But I always made sure that I was doing my job. I was making the calls. I told my guards, I told my tackles, this is what we're going to do. This is what I can control. Now, if a running back hit the wrong hold, if a quarterback threw an interception, you know, if a wide receiver ran the wrong route, I cannot control that. I stopped trying to control that. I can control in this group to a degree. I can control the group, and I can control myself. I need to make sure my film look good, because I'm trying to go to the next level. Some guys probably are and will check out. You cannot control that. You can fuss till you blue in the face. But you can't make somebody care. You just can't do that. But what you can do is you can go out there and you can put film. You can go out there and do your thing. If I'm the right tackle or if I'm the left tackle, I can control what that right tackle doing. You can give up 50 sacks. I ain't giving up none. You suck. I don't. Honestly. And I'm just being real. So, but I like when guys get selfish like that. It was one of my closest friends. I ain't gonna say who he was. He played defense when I played. He was so selfish and vain, but he was so real about it, right? And some of the guys that I played with, they'll know exactly who I'm talking about. That's my boy. But when he played, he was so vain and full of himself. He was so real about it. He knew it. But his confidence is what he drew from himself. He didn't need anything. So he went out there and he made tackles. He flew around the field, and he was a good player. And he was going to hype himself up. So all of that to say is, like, the majority of it is going to come from inside. And they just got to, man, listen, you done been blew out by 51 points at home. Brother, you get out there and you prove they may suck. I don't suck. I do my job. I don't know what they're going to do. My hand placement is right. I'm in the right spot. I'm catching it if it's coming to me. That guy sucks. Not me. Let's make a difference. And that's just what you got to do if everybody's not bought in.
Yeah, that makes sense. John, we got two more. Matt on the chat was specifically asking about the offense. He says our offense. We said what happened to our offense. Our offense was cooking last year with quick, short passing attack, but we can't get anything working this season. Is it due to personnel, or are we just trying something new for the sake of it? I don't know, like overarching, John, if you have any thoughts on just your personal opinions on the offense.
I'll just like Trent Dilfer. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's we. I mean, I really hated the first offensive series against Tulane where we got way too cute throwing, and they ended up losing 9 yards on the first down play. Like, just get back to the fundamentals. Give Lee Beebe the ball. Give Lee Witherspoon the ball. Give I don't know, Armani Goodwin if he's playing. I don't think we saw Jacobs this past Saturday. So, but Lee Beebe, let him make plays like he did. He was one of the ones that was still fighting hard and making plays in that Tulane game. Reward him and let him showcase his ability on CBS this Saturday.
It's weird. I felt like last year there was the signs of the offense being really good. Then you had like the little red flags, like the Navy game where things imploded. And something, unfortunately, the little red flags now have become the consistent part of it, right? And now it's just completely flipped. And who knows why that happened? But I can envision that if you mentally you're preparing for something to be so good and you think you've got it figured out, and when it doesn't, it just seems like it's like a snowball effect. And it's kind of like anything else. Like psychologically, I could envision that you're beginning to overthink things, overanalyze, and you get so far down that road in that think tank where you just get lost. And I feel like that's not just a game of football, but I feel like that could potentially be an explanation of like, hey, there are some ghosts from that Navy game and they reappeared in the ULM game. And then I think that ever since then, we just have not been able to find an identity because damn, Ernest Hill and Louisiana Monroe broke us.
I can ask y'all, does a player like Tajon Palmer or Skull, did they cover up so much? Because think about some of the plays against Tulane that Skull made last year where he was nothing on the front side, but he had the ability, the individual ability to stop, make some cuts, come all the way back around. You take what would be this year probably a negative 2-yard gain to a 30-yard run with Skull. Or how about Tajon and some of the amazing catches that he made, or his ability to take a 5-yard slant, all of a sudden it's to the house. We've seen slants or drags this year get dropped for first downs, right? Tajon was taking those to the house. So did they appropriately slot just those two players? Did they appropriately? And then we still had guys like T.J. Jones. We had Fred Ferrier, right? Did they appropriately slot people did they put Iverson Hooks in a place to where all of a sudden you got to worry about these guys, and it's Hooks that's making, before he got injured, that's making plays, or it's Amari Thomas that's getting your second or third best corner. They can't key in on them all of a sudden, Did losing just like those two guys, I haven't heard much from Bryce Damons this year. Bryce used to catch touchdown passes, and I haven't really heard anything from him. So was losing those two guys, or just losing TJ Fred, like losing like the 4 or 5 guys that we did that cause more damage than what we thought?
Yeah, I think that's at least part of it. I don't know if it was the main issue is to the inconsistency and lack of identity of the offense this year, but I do think that definitely played a key role. And kind of what
on one of the Monday night Trent Dilfer radio shows, he was talking about, I don't think he said his name, but we know who he was talking about because he said somebody had left the team due to personal reasons. But he was talking about how they had believed that T.J. Jones was going to be one of the, I forgot what I had sent y'all in the text, like one of the best athletes, explosive athletes or whatever he said in the country. I mean, they certainly expected big things out of him. And we have some talent at wide receiver, but when you lose Palmer and you're also You lose Ferrier, who I think he's in his third year in FBS, and he's getting on the field for Kentucky. You lose Jones. You had a guy, Jamoy Mays, that you brought in who was really productive at Chattanooga, and he's on the field for Cincinnati right now. Like it just seemed like the wide receiver group just kind of took some L's, and before you knew it, we looked up and we're just not the same team. And now we're understanding that Zeno's got a non-throwing shoulder injury. How long has that been going on? Don't know. So it's just one of those things where it just kind of snowballed.
Real quick, Jimmy. Can we expect? We're probably going to see Jalen Kitna again this Saturday. I would think.
Yeah,
I would think. I don't know why you would rush Zeno back to go up to Army and physical defense. But maybe I'll be surprised. But yeah, I'm expecting Kitna.
Maybe you see Zeno back for after the bye.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, you've got South Florida, and then you got a bye. You come back and you got, I think it's a 2-game home stretch. Was it Tulsa and UConn maybe?
Yes.
So maybe best case scenario, something that can get better with rest, and then that's when I would just anticipate to see Zeno back.
But I could say, just to push back against that a little bit, if I'm Zeno and if I'm healthy enough, this year, last year, that this season is like, blah, blah, blah. As a competitor, as somebody that want to showcase myself, because there hasn't been that great of showings these first 5 games, let me get out there against Army. If I'm healthy enough, I want to show, for me, I'm thinking selfishly, hopefully they can join my bandwagon and think, but for me, I want to get out there and I want to showcase myself, especially against an undefeated squad. So
I hope so.
I would be thinking that way if I was Zeno.
I hope so.
Last question here from Andrew Parker. Is there anything we can do to ensure that our voices are heard, specifically by AD Mark Ingram and head coach Trent Dilfer? I can touch on this a little bit. So neither of them are active on social media. So getting online and, on X and tweeting at them and doing whatever you want to do is not going to be a useful tactic, in my opinion. I will say that Mark Ingram is essentially at every athletic event. If you are also at a game, it could be anything from shout out to the women's volleyball team, or it could be the football game or soccer or whatever it is. Say hello, introduce yourself, talk to somebody man to man, and just ask some questions. You know what I'm saying?
Let's be respectful. I know everybody, we are all, including Mark Ingram, everybody is upset about how things are going and how things are realistically trending right now. Be respectful.
Yeah.
Just please be respectful.
It's funny you said that, because on my notes I bolded, italicized, and underlined. I said, professionally voice your concerns, because that's the thing, is like you're not going to get anything from the other person like if you approach them a certain kind of way. And anyway, so 100% agree. I would not approach Trent Dilfer. He doesn't care what the fans think, so I wouldn't even try that. But Mark Ingram, I think, despite all the heat that he's catching, I do think that he would listen to you. So I think that it's worthwhile going up and, again, introducing yourself and just saying, like, hey, you've got some questions, you have some concerns. I do think he'd hear you out. And if he's a jerk to you, let us know. I don't think he will be, though. I think he'll hear you out. You're not going to get the answer that you want, because if everybody had the answers, they would fix everything right now. But if you want your voice to be heard, I would encourage you, if you're local, go out to an event, introduce yourself, tell him what your name is, tell him you love UAB, you want UAB to be great, you know that he loves UAB too, and you just have some questions that you want to ask and see if he would give you any type of response. That's what I would do.
100%.
I'm not against not showing up to the games. If I don't think that's a wrong answer. I'm not saying it's a right answer, but I don't think it's wrong if you said, no, I'm not going. I've been going to these games for 10 straight years, but I'm not going because I want to show my displeasure. And a lot of times with these people, that's the main thing you can do. And they look around, they say, hey man, there's like 10,000 people here, right? Well, they need to earn those fans. I don't care. Like, that's how I feel about it. You need to give a fan a reason to watch the game. You getting beat by 51 at point, baby. Please don't say anything about no fan. If it's one fan out there, you better be happy that one fan, because what you just put out on the
That's
field.
John. John is that one fan.
What you just put out on the field, nobody should come to watch that. Let's be real. And I'm speaking. That's from me as a player. Like, and that's what I would say to other players, or that's if I was on the coaching staff, I would say we have nothing to say about fan support or anything like that, because what have we done to, like, we haven't even been competitive.
Yeah.
At home. Like, so don't say anything about the fans. So I think that's an effective way, because I bet when the Vermont game come up, UAB basketball, I bet you see a loud, packed, rabid crowd that's ready to go, that's ready to win, because they've done everything and they deserve our support. Like, Andy Kennedy, if people don't remember, and I'm going into basketball a little bit, but I'm just using this in comparison. You remember they went through a rough stretch, and they was just trying to figure out. People forget all of that. They just look at the ending. But we were here. Go back and look at the Blaze of Victory podcast. Listen to it. We went through a rough stretch where we were trying to figure out the identity. And I was thinking about this in the shower thoughts. I was thinking about this, and I remember how Andy Kennedy in the press conference was just like so real. It took a while for Trent to kind of, like, we saw this last press conference. He was kind of like, it was kind of like finally some reality started to set in. That's what it looked like, And the Kennedy would be like, I don't like when Jelly be doing all that stuff. I don't like when Eric Games, like, we need to cut all that, man.
Roller skates.
Yeah, the roller skates. It was telling you, like, I don't know, we not good at shooting threes. Like, he was so real. I was like, dang, do his players know he feel this way about him? Like, do we like his players? And then all of a sudden, I see this improvement every game, every week. We figure out stuff. So no matter what happens in basketball season, I have this faith in Andy Kennedy that they gonna figure it out. That's all he's done. Trent, like, we go back to the fans or whatever. You can keep going to those basketball games because Andy Kennedy them gonna figure it out. Mm-hmm. It's gotten worse under Trent, and maybe he's still learning at this level. I don't like the dog pile on people. I like to be real. Some of our fans, we take this thing and we get real toxic. Like, I don't like all of that. It's like too much for me. I don't participate in that. I'm a realist. I am not a guy that's gonna continuously kick somebody while they're down. Look, I think the dude is down. Did y'all see the last press conference?
Yes. Man, it was super down.
And it was.
It's just like every press conference starts like this, like.
Yeah. Very bleak. Very bleak.
Yeah, so I don't want to just. I mean, what's the point? We can be real about the situation, but just disparaging the guy and kind of just basically, putting his head in the sand. It's like we like bullies putting his head in the toilet. The dude can say he don't care at all. He can say that, but you can't. On the other hand, you can't say, I was dealing with that all week, when he was talking about what were you dealing with all week? If you don't care, you don't listen, when we talking about the freaking Alabama comment. Right. You felt that noise. You felt that pressure. So,
well, I want to be fair. I was thinking about yesterday while I was running. Darren's got his shower thoughts. I got my running thoughts. And I was trying just to, again, think through this. And if I'm trying to be nice about this or make excuses, this would be the first time I feel like that Trent has been in a position where he's needed to care about the fans. I mean, like, when you're a player, I know you care about the fans. And he was head coach at Lipscomb, but he's more worried about the parents and the players, right? He's worried about his teammates when he's a player. He's worried about the parents and the players at Lipscomb. And then now he's in a position for the first time where you kind of got to, refigure your brain if you want to. You don't have to, by the way. But now there's this, he's dealt with community, he's dealt with teammates, he's dealt with himself and all that stuff. But now there's this these people that have been here a lot longer than you have that do give a damn, a lot of damn about what the team does. And we're humiliated too, my friend. Like we're the ones that we're still wearing our gear and talking, walked into the office. And I think Monday morning, one of the first questions I got was, "Hey man, how'd your team do this week?" And somebody just doesn't pay attention to the thing. Oh, we lost by 51. Like what? And family members over at the house on Saturday. What is going on? People that I mean, it is humiliating. And so that was one thing that I know we don't have time to talk about this unless you guys want to go into it. But, he had said, I hope people understand that as much as they hurt, we hurt more at the press conference. I've never played. I can't speak to that. But Darren, I don't know if you want to talk about it now or if we want to do a Patreon on this, or just talk about it later. But you've been on both sides. You've been a player. You've been a fan. You've been in media. You coach your daughter's volleyball. I mean, you've seen it all, right? So, one thing I'm curious of, I can't speak to it. I know, damn, it hurts like hell. We've been some dark ULM. We've been some dark moments. Who hurts more, and is it even worth talking about? But that's something that I just found interesting that he said.
I think that's a good question. And the thing is, it's like player by player, fan by fan. There's a couple players on the team. It was a couple players on the team. I cared. I really cared. That's why I'm still here in this community. That's why I met y'all. I really cared. It's a lot of guys that, that's just like, hey man, we going to party, we going to smoke, whatever. And and there's nothing controversial about saying that. I wanted to let y'all know that a lot of CFB college, a lot of.
If you're shocked about that,
a lot of them.
I don't know what to tell you.
Let's be real. Yeah, they don't. A lot of them didn't care. They was getting a free ride to school, whatever. They get out there, and it was only a handful of guys I felt like that really, really cared, and it meant something to them. So those players, it probably hurt them more because they really want to represent something. I'll tell you now, and I can tell you for any team, not everybody's on the team is like that. That's real. Everybody like to think that their team is like that, and they may post some stuff because they like the picture. Is why they're posting it. They may say something about the school because they think they look good. Like, look at me type of deal. It ain't because that they necessarily may be like, I'm so proud of this school. Like, no, that's not it. They will transfer out as soon as they get that bag. Trust me. So no, that's not so if we talking it through, that's not a correct answer. Because as a fan, like I said, I'm choosing to stick around. I can go be another fan. I can go be whoever's hot right now. I can just join their bandwagon because, Alabama just got beat. So I'm like, I don't want to. They got beat by Vandy, You can go just join. I know a lot of players that's done that. You'll be surprised how many former players be wearing some of the team gear. I'm like, how do y'all do that? They'll do it like, yeah, we won. Who? Georgia. I'm from Atlanta. I'm like, you played at UAB, man. Like, what are you doing?
Wow.
But yeah, man, no. So that is a false statement. I would say, more Jimmys and Johns, more Richard McCullums, more Stephen Chappells. A lot of these people, you guys care more Paul Ensign. You can't tell me that some of these players hurt more than Paul. You can't tell me that. Do you know what he's done for this program?
That man has Blaze tatted on his arm.
Yeah, like Thomas got it tatted on his leg. Those players, they ain't doing that. And then they, after they graduate, I'm telling you, half of those guys, they don't come back. They don't watch. They watch a team that's winning and say, look at us. Look at us. I'm like, you played at UAB. They don't come back. They don't buy tickets. I don't see them. And that's their prerogative. But I'm not saying I'm mad. That's still my brother. That's still my brothers. But what I'm saying is they don't give that cup of dams that Jimmy was just talking about.
A lot of damn.
Yeah, right.
They don't care, but I can tell you what, Jimmy was, was outside in that chair. His dams was probably too high.
That's right.
John going to Cahaba after the game, Elizabeth getting mad at him because he got to take a couple.
That's right.
that was a guy's giving a damn. So I want players and coaches to understand that. I've sat in all the chairs, and I will say that I believe that fans, for the longer period of time, they're going to be there before you. They're going to be there after you. After you go, if you win and you go get your bag and you go off to the next program and you change the bio on your Twitter the same day that you get hired, they are still there dealing with everything. So that is a false statement.
And when you see the drop of all the gear on Facebook,
oh my gosh, Facebook Marketplace,
when the GA or the coach is gone, it's like all this gear is for sale.
Oh my gosh.
I'm a size medium. Just hit me up. Don't even put it on Facebook. If you got any mediums out there, hit me up.
There you go.
XL me.
XL me too, man. Me and Darren.
Guess what? We still gonna be here.
Right.
We still gonna be doing our thing. Guess what? Like the Victory Podcast, we still get beat by 51 at home. Give up 71 points.
We're gonna be here.
Hey, we went 51 minutes on this recording. We gave up 71 points. We got beat by 51. So we got beat by 51. We went 51 minutes long.
Well, we are not going 71 minutes because this thing needs to wrap. I know at the beginning I said it's going to be a short pod, and look at this 52 minutes.
We like literally last thing I'll say is like through all of this hurt, like the last couple episodes, like just talking with you guys, like I've looked forward to getting on here. And I know our fans feel the same way. So we could just go 20 minutes and be like, hey, this is the Army offense and defense. But people are turning the game off at halftime. We're just supplementing that time that they would have been watching the game or spending time with the misery, like by just getting together and talking some of this stuff through. So we'll probably keep saying that we're going to keep it short. We probably wish we kept it short. Yeah. But hell, when we get together, like we're passionate about this stuff. So we hope all of our listeners enjoy it.
Are we taking on the personality of the head coach?
Yes. Please no.
I was gonna say, man, if I wasn't gonna be in New York this Saturday, I just assume like let's just all three go live and watch the game together and just have our conversations. Like I feel like a lot of people would tune into that. Yes. In comparison to the actual game at this point.
Yeah, I mean, might as well. Was the kind of like Barstool, might as well give something to look forward to. I mean, shoot.
Get in John's basement in the man cave and turn the game on and do a live.
Yeah, hey, y'all don't want to see me after a few Cahaba beers. It could go off the rails real quick. You're going to have Elizabeth coming into the live stream.
You go live, end it. Whoop,
yep. Oh, broadcast ended. All right. Well, Darren, real quick programming note. More than likely, we're not going to have an instant reaction to the Army game. Obviously, oh my gosh. No. With me being in New York, I will not be back in Birmingham until Monday evening. So, I mean, we might just hold the recap till Tuesday or Wednesday and just do a combined recap, Army recap, and then was it South Florida preview.
And I'm traveling for work next week, so if you don't see me on the pod, it ain't because I quit and I hit the transfer portal. I'll be in Minnesota.
Ooh, were you there?
Yes.
All right, Darren, send us up.
As always, through the good and the bad. 10 years before, 10 years later. Go Blazers.